Hello, good evening. My name is Promise Odera Onu, and today I want to speak on what is the best or what should be the best practice when it comes to education versus money. Um, in our today's society, we seem to have a problem between, um, especially for the younger generation or the young ones, explaining how education is better than money or trying to show that education should be the first thing they go for and not money. Um, Usually, one should lead to the other. You should get educated first, and ultimately, then through your education, when you've graduated, you should easily start making money. But we also know that some people who have not necessarily gone to school, but who still made money. So, in that case, what should be the best practice when it comes to going straight into making money, whichever way, or getting educated and then still make money later? So I'm going to look at it from two perspectives. The first perspective is um, the society based on formal education. Formal education means going to university, going to secondary school after you've gone to primary school and kindergarten. And then I also have to look at it from the culture perspective. What does our culture, um, expect from us? Um, in my previous lives, I've tried to explain that education could not just be limited to formal. There is also informal education. There is, training, skill acquisition, apprenticeship, learning any trade. Um, there are so many ways education can happen. Education simply means impartation of knowledge. Somebody can read a textbook and explain to you what he understood from that textbook, and that's why you've got teachers, you've got tutors, and you've got, um, you know, lecturers, what have you. Whereas some people are very good in reading books, some people don't like reading books. Personally, I don't like reading books unless I have to. Some people are more graphical or more visual, so they probably will like to either you tell them while demonstrating what you've learned from your textbook. But then there's an importance to going to school and getting educated. Um, when some people say, "Oh, you don't need to go to uni," we also know that there are some professions that if you have not gone to uni or if you have not done some level of education, you cannot do those professions. Even if you know how to read books at your own, or you know how to study on your own, you still need to go to universities for those kind of courses, especially medicine, um, engineering. Most of these professional degrees or professional courses, you have to go to uni to be able to practice them. So there's no two ways about that. You have to go to uni. So you can't say, "Oh, I can read any medical book, and then I've read this medical book, I've read that medical book, now I am a doctor." No, you have to do that through the formalities of a university. Write the exams, do the practical, do the housemanship, and then get your license to practice. So that's the one way of looking at it. The way the society have done that formalized way of getting education. And there's also a cultural part. And why I want to make it clear about this cultural part is because there are some things you don't learn in school. There are some things that you can never learn in school. And that's why in our society of today, we have a problem. Whereas we are producing so many graduates and educated people, we are losing um, people of trustworthiness, people of integrity, people of high moral values, because education does not teach you those things. It now goes back to the society, to the culture. So whereas you are being trained in university to get degrees, the society also needs to train you. The culture, which also has to do with the religious belief of the people and the way of life, also helps to shape that person to be trustworthy, to be honest, to be living um, a responsible life, to be accountable, to have integrity, to have you know a kind of societal value. So these are the two ways I want to look at education and money today. So whereas anybody can just go to school and get certificates and feel like they are learned, there is also an expectation that we're meant to sort of learn how to be um, people of integrity, learn to be honest, learn to have some principles as a person, and that's basically your character. Now, you don't learn that from university, but you're expected to have that to be able to be somebody of value to the people and to your society at large. And I'm getting somewhere with this. Now, when the society is not strong enough in terms of producing their own graduates, so to speak, in these fields, when they are not able to train the people or the young ones to be able to have these good values that you cannot learn from the four walls of a university or a school, then what happens is that you have educated criminals, you have intelligent thieves, you have intelligent people who are educated but they are supporting evil people. And if you look around the world, a lot of people of the underworld or people who get themselves involved in criminal acts, they always make friends with the best lawyers, they make friends with the best with good people of moral standing. They like to make friends with very brilliant and intelligent people. They have the best lawyers to protect them because they know they're going to get into a situation or the other. They try and get a good accountant to be able to cover their tracks. So that's one thing that the society needs to look at. How is it that people of questionable characters always roll with people of good character or people who have done the right thing all their lives? So now when it comes to money, we're now seeing that our society have also been failing in producing graduates of people who have those moral values and everything. And that's why you have a moral decadence, and people now, or young people now, tend to go for money and not for education, be it informal, which is what the society teaches you, or formal. So what should we be teaching our young ones? What should we be telling our young ones to do? Should we be telling them to go for education, or should we allow them to go for money? It seems like we are beginning to lose or place less value on education. And that's beginning to hurt us. It's beginning to sort of affect our way of life. People are now just going for the money, and now families are accepting it as normal. And in that way, we are losing the level of societal values that we could get from our young ones, because we are now seeing people that are filling up the streets with things that shouldn't be, whether it is hard drugs or people who are trying to glorify illicit wealth, and then in turn using it to entice our young girls, and at the same time working for the politicians that are aiming to do crime, Because if you have gone to uni and you are educated, you probably will not be a thug to any politician because you know better. So, but when people are not educated, they get used as tools by those evil politicians or corrupt politicians. So, in that way, we need to look at our society critically and say we need to start imbibing the core values we used to have. What was our culture before? Our culture before is that every young child is entitled to go to school. If you see a young boy during school hours doing something else, you would scold them. You will find out what is the problem. You probably report the child to the parents, or you question the child, you query the child. But now nobody really cares. Young people are now wasting their lives doing whatever they like, and nobody cares in the society. So in that regard, even when you engage them, they tell you that going to school does not pay anything anymore. Now, the government have a role to play in that they're supposed to create jobs. Unemployment is high in Nigeria. But then, that said, your degree is supposed to be the basics, right? Your degree is not supposed to be the highest level of education. People don't really get this. You're supposed to go to primary school, secondary school, go to university, and then come out about early 20s. That should be the bottom line. That should be the basis. That should be the beginning of life, right? So that degree gives you the very basic training that you need to sort of face life, to go out there and then pursue your dream and pursue your career or whatever that you want to do. So if a child does not go to secondary school or drop out from university and say, for example, gets into music or gets into making money through any means, i.e. Yahoo or whatever, what does that do to them? They might make immediate hundreds of thousands of naira and then feel like they have achieved something. But then they've not given themselves that level playing field that they're supposed to have compared to somebody that have a degree. And I know that a lot of people can argue that yes, education does not guarantee wealth or riches, or people that don't go to school probably have more money. But then when you're trying to create a society of intelligent people, and I want to use that word because if you educate the population, then people know the right thing to do and the people do the right thing, and then at the end of the day you have a better society. But if you come to a society that neglects education, then it is easy for them to be toys for evil people, and then they have no no training sort of to sort of fall back on. Because what university does to you is not that course you read is what you are going to be. Most times people just read whatever they are offered at uni because they keep trying to get admission and they couldn't. So eventually whichever course they give them, they just take it just to make sure they just get through school. But this process of going to university really helps to shape your life. It really helps to sort of show you how to complete tasks, how to do your projects, how to listen attentively, how to do a little bit of research or study on your own and everything. And those things are things that will help you in life. Now some people will ask the question of, oh, where have I needed to use this algebraic expression in mathematics, for example, in real life? But then there are some things that mathematics can help you to solve in real life that you don't even know you've applied your knowledge of maths. And that's why the Prime Minister of UK said they have to encourage mathematics in this country, in the UK, because they know that people who are good in maths have better reasoning. And there are courses like logic, there are other courses like religious studies, which usually have to teach or used to teach moral standing or moral kind of values to people or to young ones. But then if a child refuses to go to school, that means they've missed out on all of this and they just rely on just making money. Now the problem of this is that even no matter how rich you are or how much you've amassed wealth in life, you will still need an educated person. You can't do without having a lawyer. You can't do without having an engineer to build your houses. You can't do without having somebody who is intelligent enough to be your accountant or your banker. Those your bankers, they went to uni. So again, we have to understand that yes, education might not guarantee wealth, but it sort of gives you the barest minimum to start in life. It just gives you that first platform to start life. And then however well, you're able to apply your intelligence or your brilliance, then that, shows how far you can go in life. So if you deny yourself that and start going into money first off, there's chances that you might make that money and there's chances that you might not. So that way you miss both ways. So a lot of people will say, as a young child, you can do, say for example, Bitcoin, and you start making money. So therefore you don't need to go to school. But then for every business, you could actually rise and you could actually fall. So what is your guaranteed wealth? So my response to that is that it's best for you to get your degree because it never expires. Once you have a degree for life, you have a degree. And that degree can always earn you a job anytime, any day. So even if you earn a degree and there is no job and you eventually go into business, for example, then you have a better understanding of how to run business. Then you have a better understanding of some keywords. There's so many things that you are being impacted, that there are so many knowledge that you are being impacted on, that is being impacted on you rather, that you can apply to a business. I remember when I was doing my first degree, my first project was my dad company then. Although I eventually didn't practicalize it, outside of uni, in terms of applying it to the business, purely because of the way Nigeria is. There is no network, there is no internet as such. But then it's quite important that had it been I've gone back to to that business after uni, if I didn't have a job, of course the way I will run it will be different. So what I'm trying to explain is there is no basis to sort of put money above education anywhere, anytime, any day. So this is a very wrong notion that our young people are actually getting right now. People thinking that money is the ultimate goal in life is just the wrong notion. Is the wrong idea. People need to understand how important education is. Education is extremely important. There was one time President Obama said he went into a shop, and because he's the president, he never has to check his bank card, right? He never has to check his account to see if he still has money in there. And this is after he's been the president, because when you are the president, of course, you don't buy anything. They buy everything for you using government money. So when he came down from the office, or when he came down from office, he wanted to buy something from a store. So he went there, picked the item, and gave his bank card, now his own personal bank card, to the retailer. And the person now scanned the card, and the thing declined. I said, "Oh, Mr. President, the card declined." I was like, "What? Really?" And that occurred to him that there has not been any money in that account. So what am I trying to say? To Obama, money is not the problem, right? Yes, there is no money, but it's not the problem. A lot of people will tell you that politics wrecked their money. Politics took a lot of money from them. The point is, at that particular time, money is not your problem. You want to get into power because when you have power, you could actually be in control of so many things, of a whole state, meet dignitaries, meet people, have immunity. It's one of the fulfillments of life, like life fulfillment you could achieve. So it's very, very pivotal that we understand how important education is. And because our society is beginning to lose the importance of education and trying to, act as if money is the main thing, because they are seeing the way wealth is being lavished by some groups in the society, we need to start correcting all this narrative. Education does not just give you money. Education helps you to carve a niche in the society for yourself. Education, places you in very important positions. Education opens door for you. Education allows you to grow. So when you have if you're educated, and you're probably working with your degree, then you can grow. The more experience you have, the more you learn, because learning is every day. But at least that baseline, you have that degree or you have that master's. From that, you can get into a job, get accepted, and you can grow. If you have money without having any education, all you are doing is using that money to make more money, which of course you can lose. But somebody who is educated uses his brain to make money. You that has not been educated, you use your cash to make money, and most of the time you are borrowing it from banks, and banks can actually decide how much is your interest this month, and you don't have any control over that. So an educated person will always hold uneducated people by the balls, and that's how it works. Do you understand? Anything you are doing in this life, an educated person can use his pen and confuse you and take your money. A lawyer can come and tell you, you sign this document, and because of that, this property belongs to so and so, because he's educated, because he's now a lawyer, because he can apply that. So if you're not educated, so many things can happen to you that you will regret. So it's very, very important for people to understand that, in as much as money is important, which I always tell people, especially young people, if you look at the way life is structured, you take the first 20 to 30 years to study yourself, to go through school, do your degree, and eventually become a graduate. Now, between the time you graduated, whether it is early 20s, mid 20s, or late 20s, depending on how fast you could go through school and your system, between that time you graduated from university to the time you die, you are making money. You won't stop making money, right? Even if you retire, you can still be doing other side business or side hustle. So money is not the goal, because you can always make money. You can argue that you can always go to school as well. So you could go, for some people who are not, of course, privileged to go to university or go to school, they probably will go and do their business or serve their masters and eventually still go to school or put themselves through school. But what is important is that if you have gone to school, then you have your whole life in front of you to sort of make money. And however you want to make money, there's no limitation. You can make money from a 9 to 5. You can make money from being an entrepreneur, running your own business. You can make money by doing both. You can make money by being a politician and working in government. And most times in many countries, you need to be educated to do some certain things. I mean, in Nigeria, sometimes you can get away without having education. But to be honest, if you really want to have a free ride, in most places you have to be educated to even get through the door. So it is very important, and this is the reason why most of our parents really made us, they really pushed and sold. If they have to sell things, if they have to, whatever it will cost them, they had to do it to make sure we go to school, because they understood the importance. Now the problem is, because of the failed system of Nigeria, it's beginning to look like all those efforts that they made those years doesn't matter anymore. But in reality, it does still matter. Because there are so many things you cannot do today without an educated person. You might have your money, yes, but it's an educated person that you will need for so many things like I've listed already. So it is very important that at least you know how, not just to read and write, but you understand so many things about life. It is extremely important, not just because you want to use it to make money, but for you to be able to fit in very well into society, you need to be educated. In fact, the more educated, the better. And there are people who have not gone through university who happen to be innovative or even achieve more than those who have been educated. And this is purely because of purpose, or people who understood their purpose. A very good example in Nigeria is Innocent. Innocent didn't graduate from a university before he started building cars or manufacturing cars. But he is intelligent. And I'll tell you the difference. A brilliant person is somebody who have gone to school and they've taught them something, and they write the exam and pass that thing that they've been taught, and they're given a certificate and say, this is it, you've done well. But an intelligent person is not somebody who has necessarily gone to school. An intelligent person is intelligent because he could think. He has photographic memory. His brain is sharp. He could go to a place today, somewhere he has not been before. He's gone there today. He look around and then go back. And next time, if you tell him to go back to that same place, he can find his way to that same place because he's that intelligent. And most times, it doesn't necessarily have to come from university degree or secondary school education. There are people who are intelligent like that. Growing up in the east of Nigeria, even a young child that is selling pure water knows calculation. He knows mathematics. You cannot cheat him. If you give him 20 naira and you buy pure water of 5 naira, he knows your change is 15 naira. He can do that mathematics very well. I sold pure water myself in Onitsha, so I know what I'm saying. I know I used to buy a bag 60 naira or yes, I think it's either 60 naira then or 40 naira, I can't remember now. But then I know that these 20 bags times 5 naira will give me 100 naira. So if I make 100 naira, then my profit is 40 naira. Okay? So that mathematics have been holding me through to make sure I don't lose my money. And immediately I finish selling my bag, I can do the minus of the ones that I'm not able to sell when it is still cold, those that have gone hot, and then calculate how much I've got. And imagine if you lose your money, even if it is 5 naira, that means it's going from your profit. So all those things can come even before you are trained on mathematics or further maths. So there are people who are intelligent. Don't get me wrong. There are people who didn't necessarily have to go to school, but they have intelligence. So that's the kind of people that just mentioned they can do any calculation. Of course. And those people are not even educated. There may be people who their parents are not able to put through school, who were taken by their aunties and aunts to train. And you find out that their brains are still sharp. They can still be intelligent. You can't deceive them. So there are people like that. That's what you call intelligence. That's natural. That's a gift. People can be geniuses. But then brilliance is when somebody goes to school, a teacher child, Obi is a boy. Exam day comes, who is Obi? The child writes, Obi is a boy. Then the child gets 100%, and then he's a brilliant child. So you can have brilliance by answering what you are told. But then I like the way UK system of education is. They won't ask you, who is Obi? After telling you Obi is a boy, they want you to tell them why is Obi a boy. So you're now going to tell them, how Obi became a boy or how the story went. So they want to see your critical reasoning. They want to see how you think, and that's where your intelligence quotients come from. And they do this classing thing that they do as well, that they will probably tell you, but they will rate theirs. And that's why they have schools, and they have grammar school, and they have this kind of school and everything, and those things kind of helps, because when they do all those grading, then they know those that will go to the Ivy League schools, the Oxfords, the Harvard, and all the rest. So it's very, very important that we understand this, right? Intelligence is good. Anybody can be intelligent. You don't need to go through school, wall of a school formally. But then you can also be informally trained. You can be, like I said, there's apprenticeship here in the UK. You could do plumbing or carpentry or electrical this thing, or get trained by a company, and you can do excellently well. Especially if you're intelligent, you can be very good. A lot of people, even in IT, didn't even go to uni. So you come to somebody and you're speaking to them, and they will tell you, oh, I didn't have to go to uni. I've been pressing computers since I was born. Purely because they are intelligent, and purely because the system here works. They started having internet when they were born. So they have access to internet, and they have access to YouTube. They've got a laptop. I mean, myself, I have a first and second degree in IT, but then even when I was in Nigeria, I went for an IT training, IMSU Liaison Center in Onitsha, and I got trained. Even though my secondary school had a computer, but they never allowed us to have access to that place. So we look, and they show us this is a computer, this is a monitor, whatever. And the rest, they draw it on the board. So when I was doing that training, I understood what motherboard is, the pieces, the computer, so I can understand the different parts of a computer, of a laptop. Then I could understand what a monitor is, what a keyboard is, and what a mouse is, and everything. So but I never had access to one myself. I never owned a laptop or a computer before leaving, and that was I was way above secondary school. I finished my secondary school trying to get into uni. But then here, an equivalent of my age have probably started using laptop when they were whatever years, as soon as they want, So they don't necessarily have to go into university to learn what mouse is or what keyboard is or how to run a particular simple, was it called CM DOS then? Command, it used to be like you run command on Windows XP back in the day. So they can learn those things off, either the manuals or online. So your contemporaries are not really your contemporaries. So in that aspect, you cannot really. So you as an African, you come here, you need to go to university to match somebody who has not even gone to university in the first place, and that's the baseline. So you are like, you have to sort of go to masters to be able to match somebody who probably just went to uni. And that's what we face here. You come out in the market, looking for work, and you find out that people are, ahead of you. They don't even have to go to uni, but they're excellent in what they do. They can write programs very well. They can do the job very well, but you have to go to uni. So that's why it's very important we, analyze this thing called education very well so people can understand it. Education does not necessarily mean you have to learn it through uni. But then there are some things that you have to go to uni for, like being a doctor, being a nurse, being a lawyer, being a certified engineer, and some other things. But there are other things you will read. You don't necessarily have to have a degree like agriculture, or sociology, and all those kind of. You can do well in those things without. But the most important thing is that you have that degree, because English and Maths is it's a mandatory course. At least you have to do well in those two things. Know how to speak, know how to understand what you're being told, communicate, do business very well. You can even do business on a big scale because you can interact with other people from other countries. You can understand how to write letters, how to write emails, understand how to do basic things. So it is very important that we go to school, and this is what we need to be passing down to the younger generations, because right now it seems like the focus is money, because our society have lost it. Our society have lost it in the fact that we glorify money. I mean, a good example is skit makers. Skit makers are making millions, right? So right now, they can probably challenge anybody. They can challenge a nurse, a doctor, whoever. You go to school, but I'm earning more money than you. But what people don't understand is that what is the longevity of that? I don't even want to go into, legacy wealth, what you can pass to your children, because if you're a doctor, for example, you can't just impart that to your children. But then, if there are 100 skit makers, for example, will that 100 make the same amount of money? I mean, I hear the skit makers on YouTube or the content creators on YouTube make, whatever, but how many of them make that kind of money? How many skit makers or content creators are on YouTube? So we have to understand that. Now, another point or how to look at this is that, remember, you are making money on YouTube. YouTube was somebody's creation. Somebody that probably went to school that created that. So you need to understand that, of course, in Nigeria, a lot of content creators are degree holders, people who have graduated. So that has to be said anyway. But then when young people are coming up, they are going after money. They want to do anything but to go to school. So we need to start correcting the narrative. We need to start making sure that we, specify these things. It's not all content creators that are making money. It is not all Bitcoin or cryptos are making money. So if you want to give yourself a sure way, almost a sure way of making money in life, which doesn't expire, by the way, is to get a degree. And that exposes you to a lot of things. It could just be your friends that you've made in uni that will help you. It could just be the little connection. It could just be something you learned not even in your class, maybe on this way. It could just be anything in that exposure, in that 4 years of living in a campus that can help you through life. So it's very important we understand these things. And it's something to fall back on. When you have your degree, you can always fall back on it. Try something, it doesn't work. You get your certificate, apply for a job, write your CV properly, do well in the interview, boom, you get a job. And I want to also say this. Sometimes we tend to forget about purpose in life. passion? What are you born to do? What, just like we watch football and um, we enjoy watching football, there are some people that it is a job for them. That thing that you enjoy, some people might see it as a job and nothing else. To some person, he's going to that pitch not because he's enjoying looking at those players, but because his job, he's a physiotherapy and he has to be there in case of any issue, or he's a doctor, or he's a team counselor, or whatever. He has to be there. There's somebody who's an assistant coach who is not looking at it like, oh, I'm going to go and watch Chelsea play or Arsenal play. He's going there because it's his job. So you have to understand that you are in this life for something, for a purpose. And most times when you are doing that thing that you have passion for, it's better off. There are also some people who are going to that pitch to do their work, but then they are enjoying it, and that's the difference. So you could go into anything in life. Like I said, from the time you finish school till when you die, you are making money. So there's no rush, okay? You might as well go to school and give yourself that level playing ground. But then more so, when you are making decisions of what to do in life to make money, always ask yourself what you really, really want to do, or what you think is your passion. And why it is important is because when others get weary doing that thing or get tired doing it, you will not. You will be happy doing what you're doing. I had to make that decision at some point myself. While I was going to uni, I was doing other things that was giving me money, all right? As a young person, at least it was giving me money. But I wasn't paying pension. I wasn't going to get any sick pay, which is one thing that people don't understand. When people come and tell you, oh, I'm making £10,000 or $10,000 a month, they don't understand that those people that are making that money, they are not getting pension, they are not getting sick pay, they're not getting holiday pay. So they cannot break down. If they do break down, that's their money broken down, and nobody's going to cover them. But then when you go into working 9 to 5, which a lot of people look down on, or you go into working a permanent job and anything happens to you, which I've seen young people that things have happened to and they have to miss work for months, then somebody has to look after you. And that's the very important thing. So going back to my story, while I was doing this thing, this other job, I was making good money. But then when I wanted to get married, I said to myself, this is an agency job. This is a 0 contract hours. So that means if I marry and I have to pay a particular month and I don't have money, then I'm done for that month, So I said, okay, why not I go and get my degree and go look for a job that is a permanent job? Then I know at least no matter what, an income is coming in every month. So I went for it and applied, and boom, I got myself a job, and then I got married. So now I had a job that is paying me good money, but it's not consistent because it's agency. You could work 1 month and then the other month there is no work and whatever. So it's not consistent. If you're not good in savings, which most people aren't good in savings, then you might be laughing this month and be crying next month. Or you decide to go into permanent role where you do a particular job, but then at least every month you're making a particular income to cover your overhead. Now, the most important thing again to that is that I wanted to do what I went to school to study, what gives me joy. So I started working from home, doing my IT work, and then I'm happy. And a few times I've gotten offers to do other things that would take me away from my, my career path. But I said, no, this is what I want to do. Now, money is not the thing for me anymore, right? The thing for me is I want to be able to stay with my family. I want to make money in a very cool way. See, when people tell you they are making $10,000 a month or £10,000 a month, ask them how long they sleep on their bed. Ask them how long they stay with their family, right? So don't forget, you can't eat your cake and have it, all right? You could make good money, don't get me wrong, but then at the end of the day, at some expense. So what you need to always ask yourself is, if somebody come and tell you they are rich or they are making money, ask them at what cost. What is it costing you? Because that's the problem. So you cannot always evaluate this without checking how much it's cost you. So if it has cost you 20 hours in a day to probably make £10,000 a month, and then somebody else finishes work 9 to 5 every day, comes back home, and they are staying with family, and they are making probably $2,000 every month, or £2,000 every month, you find out that it's not costing them so much. They have family time, they have good sleep, and they have chilled their work, drinking their tea and crossing their leg. So in life, you need to always have that mindset of balance. You know, if you have something that is chasing after you, or you're chasing after, of course, don't get me wrong, if you're young, that's the time you have to sort of do those 3 jobs or 2 jobs, as the case may be. But we black people, we tend to fall into that trap of money, 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 that we turn into a squirrel in a wheel. Keep going, because it never ends. They will keep offering you that job, offering you that extra hours, offering you all of that. And then you tend to forget that, okay, there's family time, there's sleep time. You're now spending so much of your personal time because you want to make money. So we need to understand these things, right? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? For example, I work from my home, okay? I do school runs, I come back home, I'm chilled. Apart from, the only disadvantage I have is that I'm getting fat. But apart from that, I'm living the kind of life I wanted, or I always wanted to live. When I was doing the other job where I was doing contract hours, I'm always wearing dirty clothes, always out in the dirty, being spoken to by uncivilized people and all of the rest. And then I didn't like it, you know. But now when I'm doing this kind of that job, I'm, in my space, cool, playing my music or whatever, you're chilled. And that's what education can guarantee you. But then if you don't go through school to get to that level, you find out that you keep making money, you keep hustling, and you keep having to double up and do all of that stress, then your money becomes your prison, really, because you don't get out of it. There's always one thing to spend on. The more money you make, you want to go on holiday, you want to buy this, you want to buy that, you want to do all of that. And of course, you are seeing the next shift and the next shift and the next shift, and before you know it, you break down. Even if you don't break down, you become sad. You're not happy doing what you're doing because you're not giving yourself any time off. Now, if you look at the system, especially abroad, you find out that a lot of people don't, especially Oyibo, they work the way we work. We don't give ourselves any break. I mean, if you're doing 12-hour shift, you're supposed to do it for 3 days or 4 days and have another 3 days to yourself. But then our people, we don't still go to work. On those days, we are supposed to be resting. So you do your 3 days or 4 days of 12-hour shift, then you're supposed to take 3 days to work. You still go and collect agency job and do on the next 3 days. Now you're killing yourself. You're supposed to allow those days for your body to recover, for you to be refreshed, mental health refreshed, and feel stronger to go again. And that is why we break down a lot. And then we do all of these things, go to Nigeria, build one house, rent it maybe ₦1 million, that if you convert to pounds, it is worth nothing. So if you look at it properly, you will find out that you're overstressing. This is not part of the topic, but I'm trying to sort of bring it in for those of us who are living abroad to understand that we also have a life to live. And we still have a family to stay with. If you are married, if you are young and you're single, of course, go for it. But even if you're single, you need to have a relationship, because we have a lot of issues with depression in this Western world. It's not like our place that you have social life, you have people that, in fact, you can live in this Western world. Your neighbor don't come to your house, you don't go to their house, and your street, you don't probably know the people that are living two doors away or down the road. And these are the kind of social life that we live here. So if you look at it properly, we need to understand what education can give you. Education can give you a chilled life. Education can give you a cool life, a stable life. Education can almost guarantee your future. So you cannot go after money that you don't know how long it's going to stay or how long it can take you. Because anything you go into without education that gives you money can also be lost. Yes, it can be lost. So it's always best when you're using your brain to make money rather than when you are using money to make money. Because especially in the system like Nigeria, which doesn't work, you find out that a lot of things break down. You could face a lot of taxes, or government is chasing you here and there, collecting a lot of, and that's why a lot of businesses crash, both in Lagos and Abuja and everything. And then for those that are not affected by tax and everything, you still have armed robbers to worry about. A lot of people lie to you. You hardly find people who are telling you, who are honest enough. A lot of people have, gone from the UK to go and do businesses in Nigeria, and it fails. purely because it's hard to find people who are honest enough in that place, and a lot of things are just not working, and that makes businesses to sort of go down. For every transaction, the bank charges you a token or charges you some money, and these are the things you don't get charged, in the UK. Nobody's charging you when somebody pays you money or when you pay out money. But in Nigeria, for every single transaction, you get charged. You even get charged for SMS. You get charged for everything. For ATM withdrawals, everything. Transfers, you get charged for everything. So it doesn't help businesses to thrive. And then you pay your taxes on top of that. You have to cater for transportation, your own generating of power. And you have to pay people on top of that, whether you're making loss or making gain or making profit. So you're in a situation whereby a lot of things are against you. Now, not to say that people doesn't make money still, but then if you check the percentage of rich people or those who make it and those who are actually poor in Nigeria, the margin is too wide. And that's why you have over 100 million people in Nigeria who are living below the poverty line. So you ask yourself, in that kind of system, what is best for you? Go after money or be educated? The best thing is to be educated. So we need to understand that the best practice is for any same country or any same country actually, is for us to go towards education. It helps to bring up the whole society to a particular level, so everybody can understand the basics. Everybody can be on the same page. Because when you have a lot of illiterates and you have few educated, they can't even understand the simple news. The government can come and tell you stupid things like monkey swallow money, snake swallow money, finance office cash fire, and all the nonsense that happened in the 25th February election, because people don't care. But then in the UK, for example, do you think the Prime Minister can come and say monkey swallow money? Who do you think you're talking to? Can somebody in the Western world, can the US, can Biden come and say, oh, snake swallow money, or I'm a city boy? Or can you come to Senate and say you have neck pain and because of that they cannot query you? Or you have this problem and then you go to one room and you're okay, you start praying. So all the nonsense that is going on with the politics in Nigeria is purely because the populace are uneducated, or a larger percentage of them are uneducated. So the few that are educated don't even bother. They just go about their way because they know they are making their money. So, and again, people don't understand the importance of collective wealth. There's something called collective wealth, okay? The system in the UK, for example, takes from the rich. So the richer you get, the more tax you pay, and help those that are poor, those who are below poverty line. So if you're not making to a certain particular, if you're not making a particular amount of money, the system helps you up. So everybody doesn't go below a particular threshold. So that way, the society have faint during trials, or people boast that they are city boys, while other ones are mainland boys, they are island boys. So all this nonsense is purely because we have an uneducated populace. Let's be honest. If everybody in Nigeria are degree holders minimum, or we have more educated people, a lot of nonsense that is going on in Nigeria will not go on. A lot. Because then you have, fireworks of legal, petitions and people suing people about nonsense that are going on in Nigeria. But because they know, they come out and these same people glorify them, beg them for money, praise them, hail them. Look at Ibori when he came back to Delta State, the kind of standing ovation he got. And look at, people like Oju Zokara separating themselves because people that are surrounding them are still begging them for money. So they are looting more and, helping those they will help, and others are keeping quiet. So we're in a society whereby we don't understand our left from our right. We're uneducated. And then the few ones that are educated don't really care. They just want to help their own families and live the thing. So we need to focus on education. Okay? We need to focus on education, and it's very, very important. And collective wealth, like I was trying to explain, is where everybody is okay-ish. Né? Everybody is okay-ish. Meaning, if you are driving a Range Rover, I don't care. Because I can walk into anywhere and I can also pick up a Range Rover. So it's nothing to me. Everybody is okay, right? And that Range Rover or my own Toyota is using the same road. And the road is okay. The road is good. All of us have lights, whether you are living in a mansion, or you're living in a duplex, or you're living in a flat, or you're living in a whatever, studio room, name it, box room. But then in Nigeria, you have people that are living in skyscrapers or living in very massive mansions, and you have other people who are living in dungeons. But then the most important thing is that there is no road for everyone. So even if you're driving a Mercedes 2022 or you're walking, all of you are on the same stupid road. You have bad roads. Whenever I come back to Nigeria, one thing I notice very quickly is that I would then start needing to be cleaning my shoes. Well, I can stay in the UK and I wouldn't have any need to clean my shoes or my trainers because there's hardly any dust anywhere. Everywhere you go, everywhere is tarred. But then in Nigeria, even if you're wearing an expensive shoe, no matter what brand it is, there's dust covering it because the minute you step out of your car, you're marching on dust. So there is no collective wealth. You have pockets of wealthy people, extremely wealthy people, pockets of, not pockets now, many poor people, and that forms the whole community, and that's why Nigeria is regarded as a poor country. So even though we have a rich resource, and we have very intelligent people, but because we still have a very massive number of uneducated people, we are seen as third world country. We are seen as uneducated people, and that's why they keep giving us foreign aid. Because take peanuts, help yourself, develop. They're trying to push you. Come on, do it. But then you have other countries who are doing extremely well. They have the same numbers. So our population is not our problem because China is 1 point something billion. India is 1 point something billion. So many countries are more than 200 million. So our population is not the problem. The problem is that we are uneducated. Simple as. It's because of uneducation that we have uneducated. And again, there is education you get from university and there is education you get from the culture, from the society, from the mindset of the people. Which is why you have a lot of educated liars, like all the professors that are lying on TV, trying to, disenfranchise the people and install somebody who is not the rightful person the people voted for. That is because, yes, they might be vice chancellors. What is the process of making them vice chancellor? What's the process of them becoming PhD holders in the first place or becoming professors in the first place? So if you look at it very well, you find out that the system is bad, and that's why they are producing a lot of bad professors and also bad vice chancellors that don't even have any moral grounds or integrity. Do you understand? So you're supposed to go to two schools the same time, right? You're supposed to go to the school of formal education or informal or apprenticeship or whatever, and also the society needs to train you. And that society is supposed to come from your culture, your religion, your beliefs, your moral standing, your core values as a people. So we are losing it on both fronts. And that is why we are producing PhD holders who are liars, lawyers who are liars, policemen who are liars. Everybody is sort of corrupt, even clergymen. So we need to go back to these things of, being able to say no to money, no matter who is offering, no matter how much is being offered. And I use this system a lot to sort of make an example because that's the system I live in. If you are going to a particular place in this country now, and say, for example, you want to go and buy something in a shop, regardless of how much you want to spend in that shop, and that shop says they close at 5. Believe you me, if you come there at 5, no matter how much money you are coming with, they will tell you, sorry, we are short, and that is it. They won't open. They will tell you to come back tomorrow. And that is even if it's a personal business, they are working for somebody. Is anybody that says this is our closing time, or you're in a bar drinking and they say they stop selling alcohol by their license, they stop selling alcohol by a particular time. Even if you're in a club and they say they don't sell alcohol after 1 or 2. Once it is 2, even if you are buying the most expensive champagne in that club, they won't sell it. Now, there is no police in there to sort of do that, but they know that this is their license, and should anybody find them wanting, they could lose it. So that is the society. How does the society shape people? Why are we able to have elders who necessarily, before in our culture, elders don't engage in anything lies? Necessarily before, elders will not, of course, give false judgment or lie against or bear false witness, right? But these days we see elders that are lying on national TV. People don't care about moral values anymore. People don't care. Everybody has selfish interest, and that interest comes before any other thing. So this is why we've lost it. And this is why we have to keep making it very, very clear. It's better for everybody to be okay. Nobody is so rich, but everybody is okay. And we have good roads. We have water. We have light. Imagine if Abacha used all those money he looted abroad to build all these things for us. All of us could have been okay. Because what happens is that now, if you are driving a big car, everybody is looking, oh, look at that car, wow, it's nice, wow. Everybody. But then the next thing, they're trying to come and break and steal that car. But if you had an okay system like this country, you could be on the train with the prime minister and he's reading his paper, you are okay, doing what you're not after anybody. And that's why so many countries are able to be closing down their prisons, because there's no need for it, because there's no crime. So it's possible that a society can stay without having need for even police. And bear in mind, there are so many countries that don't even have military. There are so many countries that don't spend so much money on security because they are okay. Nobody's going out. There are so many places that are very safe. Do you understand? Because everybody is busy doing what they should do. The government is doing what they should do, and everybody is fine. So we need to look at these things, and they are very, very important. Money is not everything. When you place money in front of you and you go after money, you will put yourself in a prison. That's why so many people, they try this, they try that, they put their hands in this, they put their hands in that. How much money do you need? You just have to be comfortable. You just have to eat, come back, stay with family. There's more things in life that are important than just going after money. And even those of us that go to secondary school, university and everything, we are not going there because we want to invent something or solve a problem. But then we are going there to just get a degree, go and work and buy car and build a house and marry, and that's it. So we need to desire more from life. We need to ask ourselves a purpose. What are you in this life to do? What can people gain from you? What fulfillment do you derive every day that you've solved this problem, that you've participated in this? Those things are not looking after money. Like I said, Obama didn't know he hasn't got any money in his bank account because he wasn't interested in looking in his bank account to see how much is in there. Some people feel so happy because they have so much money in this account seated, and that's what gives them joy. There are people who don't care. There are so many countries that professors. Okay, I'll give you a very good example. Finland, right? Finland just joined NATO. Before Finland even joined NATO, immediately the Ukraine-Russia war started, all the Finnish IT experts, because the core, if you're an IT person, you know about the processors, the computer processors, most of them are made by Finnish engineers, right? So all those engineers were taken away from Finland, because should anything happen and Putin goes haywire and attacks Finland and any of those guys die, the whole world will suffer. Those are the guys that build those Intel technologies. So it is very, very important we understand how much education is worth and is priceless. If you are a genius and you could invent something, you actually matter to the society more than a rich man, more than a man that has a lot of money and can throw it up and down. Because there are some things that can outlast you, that people can be reading about you, like those that made discoveries or somebody invented light. Michael Faraday, somebody invented television, somebody invented radio, all these people did it because they studied, they researched, they did education, not because of money. If I ask you who was the richest man, probably Rockefellers and whatever. But then, unless you are so rich that you're the one richest man, most times people don't care about how much money you made. Your name fades away. But education can put you on a high pedestal. So you need to actually look at, and again, you can't say from 100 people that everybody is going to be extremely rich. But then if 100 people that go to university can afford to feed themselves and survive, it's good enough. So education is most important more than money, because after education, at least you can still be making money as a consequence of what you've got or your degree. But then having money necessarily cannot make you survive in the world, because you probably still need educated people to do so many things for you. So it's best if you can operate at a particular level. If you are opportunity enough to go to school, take it with both hands. And we need to start teaching our young people to take these things seriously. Education is best, No matter how much money your friends are throwing around, put yourself through the stress of going through the four wall of a school. And as well as when you are going through a university, also go through the culture of your people. Learn the way of life of your people, because those are the things that will see you through to be the best person in life. God bless you and thank you.